Hi, I'm Deborah Cox, NACo's Deputy Executive Director and Director of Government Affairs.
And I'm Mark Taco, Deputy Director of Government Affairs.
We're sorry we can't see you in person to share our federal policy update, but we do hope to see you soon. While much of the federal government's focus has centered around COVID-19, there's still a tremendous amount of work being done on other federal policy issues important to you and our communities. We are honored to continue serving as the voice of our nation's counties here in Washington, D.C.
In December, the NACo Board of Directors approved the association's top 10 priorities for this year, and our team continues to be laser focused on making progress on these issues and many others that impact county governments and our residents. So for today, here are our top 5 things to know.
First, COVID-19. Every county has been impacted differently, from our largest counties to our smallest rural and remote counties, and we remain focused on making sure that you have the resources needed to address the pandemic in your communities. Our team has been working with Congress, the White House, federal agencies, and even the business community to chart a path forward to help mitigate the public health and economic impacts of COVID-19. So far, Congress has passed 4 relief packages, and President Trump has signed a national emergency declaration. However, only 5% of counties nationwide have received direct funds through the CARES Act, and many of you are having to furlough or lay off workers or cut services. Many of you are also having to navigate uncharted waters with your states as they make decisions on how to allocate their federal dollars. At the federal level, we continue to push for an additional bipartisan relief package that would provide direct and flexible aid to state and local governments of all sizes that could be used to help with direct costs and offset lost revenue. And we support reasonable guardrails to ensure good stewardship of taxpayer dollars. We are also working with our federal partners to provide clarity and practical guidelines for the use of federal resources. Thank you for all of your continued efforts, but we still need your support and advocacy to help us get a relief package over the finish line. We need to continue to tell the county's story and how you deliver critical services to fight the pandemic, and encourage you to join our We Are Counties campaign. And if you haven't had a chance to check it out, visit naco.org/coronavirus, where you'll find resources including research, best practices for safely reopening, advocacy tools, and much more.
Item number 2 on our list is infrastructure. As major owners and operators of the nation's infrastructure, this issue continues to be one of our top priorities as Congress considers surface transportation legislation and funding. While the House and Senate are moving at different paces and have different priorities, they'll need to act before the current legislation expires in September, or enact an extension. There are also efforts underway to move a comprehensive infrastructure package. We are working to ensure that county priorities are part of any infrastructure legislation and continue to focus on increased and direct funding to counties, additional resources for off-system bridges, and increased local investment through surface transportation block grants, to name a few. Please help us keep the pressure on Congress to help keep infrastructure a priority.
Item number 3 is the Payments in Lieu of Taxes and Secure Rural Schools programs. We helped secure $233 million for SRS for our forest counties for 2019, and we are working on a long-term sustainable solution. We also helped secure full funding for the Payments in Lieu of Taxes program for this fiscal year and continue to lead the fight to provide long-term, reliable funding for our public lands counties.
Our 4th update is on regulations. On the regulatory front, we've secured wins on long-standing NACo priorities, including an updated definition of EPA's waters of the United States, which included some of NACo's requested changes. We were also pleased to see that a recent executive order expedites the federal permitting process for infrastructure projects to boost the economy. With your help, we are also influencing many other federal regulations, including the Lead and Copper Rule, the Section 401 Certification Rule, the PFAS Action Plan, the Clean Water Act Affordability Guidelines, and the Safe Vehicles Rule.
And for our 5th and final update, we need your help to build support for the Restore the Partnership Act, which is legislation that would strengthen the communication and consultation process with all levels of government around the development of federal legislation and regulation. Just like we need a strong federal, state, local partnership to tackle the coronavirus, infrastructure, and so many of the issues we've mentioned, the enactment of this bill would help to slow and stop the increase of unfunded federal mandates.
And that's not all we're working on. From improving broadband data to preserving local zoning authority, we continue to focus on national telecommunication policy and implementation to better assist counties in bridging the digital divide. NACo's Tested app, with over 140,000 samples collected and counting, led to the passage of the Broadband Data Act, which will help provide meaningful investments in our nation's broadband infrastructure. We also helped secure a $2.8 billion increase in funding for the 2020 census, which is crucial for all counties. We were proud of a $1.5 billion increase to fight the opioid epidemic, which prior to COVID was and will continue to be a major public health challenge for counties. And we helped achieve a full repeal of the 40% Cadillac tax on employer-sponsored health plans.
Through the rest of the year, our NACo team will continue to advance counties' federal policy priorities as we work on FCC regulations that impact local zoning authority and the implementation of 5G technology, the reauthorization of the National Flood Insurance Program, the Water Resources Development Act, also known as WRDA, which authorizes water infrastructure projects through the Army Corps of Engineers, restoring advanced refunding bonds, which are so important to county infrastructure development. We are making progress on the Medicaid inmate exclusion policy. And finally, since this is an election year, election security issues are front and center.
This is a snapshot of NACo's work to improve and strengthen federal policy that impacts your work at the local level. We are here to serve as your voice in Washington.